Okay, awesome. All right, so this is our, I guess this is the fourth session of our four-part series of training for Peoria Charter. It's been wonderful. Hopefully, maybe the start of something that will continue to go forward on a monthly basis or so. We'll never know. But anyway, super excited to be here and to share in this with all of you and hear from my good friend and one of our awesome business resources, Mary Ardapple. Some of you may know her. She previously, or she's calls herself the retired sugar peddler. She owned Apple's Bakery. So if you've ever visited there, then you may have met Mary at one time or another. But she's always had a passion for food and nutrition and giving back and serving others. And she's doing it now as a health coach. And she's pretty awesome at it, if I must say so. And so I'm going to turn it over to her, and we're going to learn that path between our fork and our feet. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome, Kim. I'm going to pull this up here. Just 1 second here, everybody. Let me get this started. Come on. There we go. Okay.
I love your jokes.
You what?
I love your jokes.
Oh, good.
I
I'm
don't know if
glad.
that says that I don't have much humor.
My name is Mary Ardapple Durker, and it is just absolutely awesome to be part of the I've Decided training team with Peoria Charter Coach this month. This is going to be an interactive conversation. So as Kim said, I am incredibly passionate about food and people. My background is as a self-employed, now retired self-employed restaurateur and bakery owner of nearly 35 years here in the Peoria market. So I owned O'Leary's restaurant and Apple's Bakery, and I retired Apple's Bakery in 2015. And as I ended my career from public life and from business ownership with the regular day-to-day public, I wondered, how can I take my passion and really repackage it so that I can be an advocate for others to improve their healthy lifestyle. And I decided to go to the School of Integrative Nutrition, Institute of Integrative Nutrition out of New York, and got my health coach certification. And so now I identify, yes, as a retired sugar peddler because I love to bake and I love food for fun, but I also love food for fuel and food for recovery. So those are kind of the three buckets that I put my food in. And then at the same time, I'm a big advocate for a body in motion, a body in movement. But that doesn't mean get up off the couch and run a marathon. It doesn't mean become a bodybuilder. But we all have the ability to move our feet, and we all have the ability to be a bodybuilder because we're each gifted with this one glorious body that we were born in. And so I'm a real champion and an advocate for others to increase their relationship with themselves between food and movement. So I also went to go to Yoga Fit, and I'm 200 hours certified. So if you ever want to do a in-house or Zoom yoga class, ring me up. I love to do that kind of stuff. I currently teach 3 classes a week on Zoom yoga with the YMCA at 8 o'clock on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you could hop on that anytime. And so our conversation today is just that. We're about to have a conversation on you exploring what is your current relationship with food and with movement. We're going to go through 3 different buckets that are snack buckets. So I want to visit the word snack first and foremost. I don't know, when I was in years earlier, when I thought of a snack, I'm thinking hand in the cookie jar, and I can't eat just 1 cookie. I'm going to eat 2 or 3, especially when I had the bakery right when they came out of the oven. Or it's a bag of M&Ms, or it's a bag of whatever, chips, maybe you're a salty person. So we in our society have gotten used to conditioning ourselves that the term snack is a negative word. Kids, when we're talking about overall improved health plans, snack is a tool. So I want us to reframe the term snack for this conversation anyhow. And we'll go through 3 interactive exercises here in a little bit. But I want you to take a moment, and if you've got a pen and a paper next to you, I'd like you to maybe write down the word snack, and whether you think of that as a healthy thing or a non-healthy thing. And you don't have, you can put a word next to it, or you can just put a thought in your mind. But then on a scale of 1 to 10, what is your relationship with food? Do you use food to supplicate stress and tension? Do you use food as cravings, as a message, when cravings are merely messages that something isn't going so great? Or do you adopt a food plan that is for fuel, recovery, and then for fun? Just go ahead and take a moment and jot down some notes that you might want to think about as we go forward. And when you're done with that particular thoughtful exercise, I'd like you to take a moment to reflect inside of yourself. What's your relationship with movement? Okay. Are you a regular recreator? Great. That's super. If you are, that's fine. If you're not, that's equally great and fine, because it's your life and I'm not the boss of you. Only you are the boss of you, and only you can bring these tools into your daily life to help you be more optimally healthy. So if now the third one is on a scale of 1 to 10, as you meet yourself today, how do you feel? Did you wake up full of joy? And nobody's going to see this paper but you, so it doesn't make any difference what number you put down on it. Did you wake up full of joy? Did you wake up a little with apprehension? I think in today's world, we come to every day with an element of uncertainty of like, what's today going to bring? So just take a moment and check in with yourself, okay? Being present with ourselves when we start the day. So when I work with my clients one-on-one, that's how we begin some of our strategy sessions, is how do you meet yourself each and every day? And is that where you actually want to live? Or are you seeking a different path? So my motto is discovering the path between your fork and feet. It's a daily mantra with myself, and I encourage you to take it as a daily mantra. Living life that is filled with discovery, that we're always learning more about our gifts and our capabilities. Those can be uncovered by the food choices we make and the movement that we choose to bring in. But as an integrative wellness strategist, there are actually 5 buckets if we were to work together that I would really work over time with you. And first and foremost is our food. We consider that in my world our secondary food, whereas most people feel that the nutrition or whatever we put in our mouth is the leading thing to being ultimately healthy. I'm going to share with you it's not. Our bodies require the food, but it isn't necessarily what makes us healthy. Obviously, we can put a lot of junk in our bodies that make us very unhealthy. When we put in our lives balance between our relationships that are nurturing and uplifting, they're authentic and they're real, and they're very supportive, and we combine that with a movement program that is fun and engaging, and it has the tools of our legs and body, arms and heart, all that stuff working together, that's where we find some health. And then also in a fulfilling vocation. It was great, Megan, she says she's been with Peoria Charter Coach for 20 years and she loves it. It's you guys work in a company that exemplifies excellence for your customer experience. And what I hope my conversation leaves you today, as proud and prideful as you are of working at the company, I want to encourage you to even be more prideful and comfortable within your own body so that you can bring just even a little bit more to the dance each and every day. And then the 5th area that I work with individuals is a spiritual practice. And that is not necessarily any one, it's not religion, it's a spiritual practice. It is a practice that recognizes each and every one of us are part of something that is bigger than just us. So whatever that is for the individual, that's the right path for them. So as we go forward, that's a little bit about what I do with my personal clients, and I work with small groups as well. But that's how we are going to proceed. We're going to really focus on 3 snack buckets. I just love this on your website, Experience Our Experience. As a long-standing business owner in the Peoria market and community volunteer, I got to tell you, when I look at Peoria Charter Coach, yeah, you guys exemplify with the best of the companies in our regions that you want that customer experience, and everyone that touches Peoria Charter Coach to have the best experience possible. And it's just really awesome to be spending time with you today. But it's encouraging employee engagement. And I love this picture. Look at all the smiles of you guys. I'm not really sure where you're at and what you're exactly doing, but it looks like you're having fun. How is it that we can encourage from these conversations and these trainings to really encourage the engagement within all of your staff, from maintenance to drivers to dispatchers to management, whomever is at Peoria Charter Coach? When we encourage one another with that engagement, our wellness flows to the company's bottom line. So companies that exemplify that kind of wellness engagement as a business strategy, you're going to lead not only in your own industry, but in our community. And I celebrate where you're at with that today. So creating a healthy performance culture. I sat in on the call last week with Stacy, and one of the things about a healthy performance culture from a wellness strategist perspective is that culture encourages all members on their staff to continually have access to higher learning. And so by bringing training such as today and the past 3 ahead of me into your culture, that in itself is a health prescription for your work culture. But a healthy performance culture kind of has a little bit of an abnormality when we think of healthy and performance in the workplace. And this is what I mean by this, and this is where I'd like to really frame it around. Health performance does not only mean when we're on our private time. Oftentimes our culture, our work cultures in particularly, encourages to go to work, put in the time, and then when we get off of work, then we go back and we work at being healthy. What I suggest to you today as a company, when we bring health and wellness into a company, it actually has our employees and all members of the company perform at a higher productivity level. And so what we're going to do today is bring in those 3 buckets of healthy snacking into the workplace. As we practice these, because yes, we're going to practice them together. I don't know what you've already done today. Maybe you've already been out for a run. Maybe you've just gotten out of bed. Doesn't make any difference. We're going to practice together. But when we bring these types of strategies into the workplace, then they ripple out. So this is the cool thing about talking. I get really super jazzed about talking about health and wellness in the workplace, because I believe our workplace is what can really influence our home life, because we take these practices back to our families, our friends, and other relationships. So we're rolling that health prescription outward, as opposed to thinking, oh, I only have time to be healthy when I'm at home. Bunk on all of that. The first one that I'm going to bring in is breath breaks. So here's what we're going to do, gang. I want you to go ahead wherever you're sitting. I'd like you to get so that you can comfortably have both of your feet flat on the floor. So you're going to need to make a little bit of an adjustment here maybe. Take the back away from the chair, okay? Now, breathing is our #1 tool that we have for our health. And here's the beauty of it. We don't have to tell our bodies to do it. It just automatically does it, thankfully. But it's when we put it into the snacking category that it becomes a tool for not only our health, but productivity and improving our sleep. So now that you have sat away from the back of the chair, I want you to find out where your head is. Many of you work at a computer, so your head tilts forward quite a bit. Let's see if we can get the head back up over the head's right over the heart, right? And the chin is going to be on the horizon. So that means if you put your hand underneath your chin, you want it to be parallel to the floor. And you may actually need to retract the head back to actually get the head over. Some of you may feel a little bit of an adjustment in the base of the neck. Now, find out where your shoulders are. We want them to be right over your hips. And then I'd like you to take a look down at your knees. Are you a wide sitter? Are the legs out in a V? Or are you a tight sitter that you're hugging your knees together? Whichever, I would like you to make an adjustment and have the knees just be right past the hips, okay? So when you look down, they're gonna be right past the hips. All right, now let's go ahead and take our hands down and just lay them on top of the thighs and hang out with me for a moment if you would. There are 3 breath practices we're going to work through, and before we do that, let me give you a little bit of background on why I am so intent on all of us becoming intentional breathers, especially in the workplace. Pandemic or no pandemic, the stress of the workplace encourages shallow breathing. The Western culture is gifted at shallow breathing. Why? Because we're encouraged to do everything without feeling and with high intensity, especially in the workplace. So if we're coordinating logistics for several buses on a day, or if we're a driver behind the wheel and we have a passenger full bus and they're meeting deadlines to get up to O'Hare, and will they meet, and you can feel the stressful energy, we absorb the energy that's around us. We absorb the responsibilities that are around us, and so we breathe shallowly. I'd like you to take your right hand and place it gently on your chest, okay? So feel that nice breastbone there. It's nice flat bone. Then I want you to take your left hand and place the thumb in your belly button and let your other 4 fingers just lightly rest on your lower abdomen and just breathe. If you want to close your eyes, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine. And just breathe like you normally would. I'll be quiet for just a moment and just breathe. Now, finding the awareness in your body on how you are breathing. If the hand on top of the breast kind of just moved up and down or in and out, and the lower belly didn't move that hand at all, we're only breathing in the top of our lungs. That's very, very shallow breath work, and that's going to occur frequently throughout the day without you even knowing it, because the body automatically breathes. If you're a vocalist or a musician, you're aware of what the diaphragm can do and abdominal deep belly breath can do. Then your lower hand would have moved in and out as well as drawing the breath up. You decide what that kind of breath was. But I'd also like you to take a moment as we go through these next 3 exercises. What happens in the brain? What happens in your awareness? Because when we focus on breath intentionally, it crowds out the noise. It crowds out the tension. It crowds out those busy thoughts that are going to come across our minds all day long, because we're humans. So go ahead and leave your hands, if you're comfortable, on your body the way they have. Now I'd like you to shrug the shoulders up to the ears and then lay the shoulder blades as flat down on your back as possible. Relax the inner arms and all the way down to the elbows, and just be as soft as you can. Feel the floor underneath your feet. Now the first breath we're going to walk through is the 3-part belly breath. This would be typical at the beginning of a yoga practice, but it's really good to start to let go of tensions and stresses. And this is what you need to do. We're going to visualize walking up 3 steps, slowly and measured. We'll pause at the top of the breath, and then we will walk down those 3 steps slowly and measured before we go ahead and move on to the next one. Now, as you take the first sip of breath, I want you to fill the belly so the lower hand gets pushed away from your belly, okay? So we're gonna take a breath, push that abdomen onto that palm of the hand, and then take another sip, draw the air up into the ribs, and then take that last sip all the way up into the heart center and feel it fill behind your right hand up on the chest. Take a pause, and then slowly step the breath back out of the body that same way. 3-part belly breath, and you can go ahead and release your hands from your body, but the 3-part belly breath is really good during the workday for improving that posture. When you're sitting at the chair and you're tipped forward or the head is down, when you come back and you take a snack break of lifting the head up and you do 3 to 5 breaths, that spine gets longer. So I encourage, no matter what you do at the company, that you consider that for when you're feeling a little achy, let the breath come back and work with you. The second breath method is called a box breath method. Normally, it seems that most people will advocate a count of 4, but if you're a deep breather already, you can make any breath that you want. It's just going to be even parts. Now, the beauty of the box breath is it brings clarity and focus into the mind. So as we do this, and I'll speak it first and then we'll practice it once, is we inhale up 4 breath counts up one side of the box. We pause and hold that breath for a count of 4 across the top of the box. And then we exhale a count of 4 down the other side and then across the bottom. So as the brain visualizes drawing these 4 edges of the box during the workday, if you're feeling a little muddy up there or a little cluttered, if you go to the box breath, the mind softens and brings your focus back in because it can see those right angles and the full box. So go ahead and leave your hands comfortable in your lap, wherever you want them to be. It's okay, it's your practice. Close your eyes or open them. And let's inhale a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. 3, 2, 1. And pause. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So that's what a box breath is like. And it's got that visualization technique built into it. So again, it takes the brain away from the busy thoughts. It places the brain right into the outer corners of the box without trapping you inside of the box, and helps to slow everything down, and then you can get back to work. The third breath practice today is an incredible one for health. And it is the 4-7-8 breath. It's promoted by many breathing practitioners around the world. And it is an inhale of 4, a hold of 7, and a release of 8. And I want to talk about this one for just a moment. I think that this particular breathing technique is incredibly awesome. When you're either up against a deadline and you just, you've got that racing heart, you've got the knot in the belly of like, oh my God, I need to hit it out the park and I'm not sure I can, or before you go to bed. And after the day of whatever has been come across the plate, and it's not negatives, it's just, if it's been a full day, it could be a joyous day all day long. The 4-7-8 breath will really help improve the sleep. Why? You are exhaling twice as far as you are inhaling. And so when we dig deep, all the way down into the base of those lungs, and exhale everything all the way down there, you're going to take the belly button all the way in and really like a plunger. It just releases a lot of toxicity that we carry around in our brain. The visualization I like to use for the 4-7-8 breath is if you're using a coffee press. So if you don't know what a coffee press is or don't have one, it would be kind of a plunger of coffee, but just pretend that you've got a glass carafe in front of you. You're going to put wonderfully delightful dark roasted coffee, if you like dark roasted coffee, I do, in the bottom. And then you're going to pour steeping hot water into that. And as you do, we're going to visually pull the plunger up a count of 4. We're going to hold it there and let that coffee steep for a count of 7. And then we're going to, as slowly as we possibly can for a count of 8, take that breath out. Now let's do it together, okay? Visualize whatever you want to visualize. I'm going to go to the coffee press, and I've poured the water in, and now I'm going to inhale a count of 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now slowly press down. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. This is 3 examples of breathing snack breaks, okay? You can do them during your home life. You can do them at the workplace. You can do them without anybody even knowing you're doing them. That's one of the beauties of using the breath as a productivity tool when you're at work. Breath work, intentional breath work, isn't easy in the beginning for people. I'm going to let you know that. But don't give up on it. One of the reasons it's not easy is we've conditioned our bodies that believes when I need a breath, I need to gasp that breath right now. And so it takes some training. Be patient with your body. Also, we can breathe without thinking about it. So when we do start to think about it, we get into this battleground with those racing thoughts in our head. And so that takes some time as well to say, I'll come back to those thoughts. Let me focus over here. So those are my suggestions on breath techniques. The second snack bucket is in our food and our hydration. Now, don't get me wrong, food for fun is super important. Cookies, I'm a retired sugar peddler. I made coconut meringue pie this weekend, and I've probably eaten half of that pie on my own. Fortunately, I don't do that every day, but I don't deny myself that kind of pleasurable food. So food for fun is whatever food for fun is for you. We just don't want food for fun to be the dominant food intake, okay, gang? Food for fuel and food for recovery in the snacks that we bring, especially in today's climate. More and more of us are cooking more, or we're experimenting more with food. Super healthy to do that. I encourage you to, if you are starting to find that you only buy the same vegetables at the grocery store or follow the same recipes, I encourage you, especially going forward, now that farmers markets and local produce will be available, find a seasonal food that you've never played around with. Find a new recipe. Try new spices. Shake it up a little bit. Use the food as a health prescription, not by the content of just what you're eating, but think of it as a mental stimulus. One of the best ways to increase and improve the mental stimulus on our food is to play the 5-color game. Right now, check out how many colors do you eat of your food a day? Is there a dominant color like white or yellow? Is there no red? So what are the 5 colors? Red, orange, yellow, green, and purple or blue. They go together. So I like to promote eating the 5-color game. And if you've got kids at home, engage them in it. Help them say, oh, we didn't eat purple today, so we need to get some blueberries, or we need to chop up a red onion. But when we make sure that we have 5 colors of food in our day every day, you're automatically improving the nutritional content of what you're eating. Now, I'm a strategist. I'm not a dietitian. I'm not a nutritionist, okay? So I really work at learning on how does my body feel about the food. I don't promote a particular diet, because what diet I eat may not be fueling another person the way they need to be fueled. So there isn't a magic pill on the exact formula, but I'll guarantee you this. If you play the 5-color food game in your day, your body will automatically start to crave those foods and have you get them into your system on a regular basis. The way I try to bring the 5-color food game into my own personal existence is it depends what I have for breakfast. So if you use breakfast or your first meal of the day, which personally I'm going to say I hope is breakfast, what colors do you have at breakfast time? And then build off of that throughout the day. Take a moment and think about what your food plan is. What is your relationship? Are you a person that says, I need to eat 5 times a day? Or are you a traditionalist that says, I eat breakfast, I eat lunch, and I eat dinner as 3 separate meals? I would promote to you the mindset that our food plan is actually one giant meal. It's just option at times when we eat that meal, but our food plan is one giant meal throughout the entire day, and build it on the 5 colors. The second thing is water. And Kim's on this call, she knows I always talk about water. And I'll tell you this, gang, that working with clients, I get told all the time, oh heck, I drink enough water. I drink water all day long. And I'll say, really? How much water do you drink? Well, I've got water with me all day long. I know, I see it every time I'm with you. You've got water next to you all day long. How much water do you really drink? Well, I don't know. That's the thing that most all of us, myself included, and I would be surprised that there's anybody in your regular area that if they know exactly how much water they're doing, they're leagues ahead of most people. Drinking half your body weight is where we need to start. And we get that promoted on a regular basis. For some people, that's pretty overwhelming. Some people will say just start with a gallon. What I don't really care what you end up doing. I would always encourage you to go to half of your body weight. What I want you to do first from this call is I want you to start to do a water audit, because we think we drink more water than we actually do. So how can you do that at your desk? Do you get up at a certain time to go to a water cooler or to refresh your water? If you don't, I encourage you to set an alarm on your clock, whether it be on your computer, your watch, or your phone, and start to do an audit with yourself. If I go to work at 8 o'clock, I'm going to refill my water bottle, whatever time, however many times you choose. Again, this is your plan, not mine. I'm not your boss. You have to find what has your body feeling nurtured and nourished. And so when we set those little reminder timers in our workday, because what? We get buried in a computer or we get buried in traffic driving down the road, we don't know. And so take a little piece of paper and just do a little chit every time, but set a goal first to do an audit, finding out how much water you drink, and then challenge yourself to increase that amount of water by X amount. You get to choose, okay? So that's the other snacking, water in 5 colors. The last bucket of snacking is movement snacks. And movement snacks at work, I think, are incredibly valuable. And they can be inserted as individual practices. They can also be inserted into corporate culture with reminders, with daily email reminders. Okay, at 2 o'clock, everybody get up and do X, or whatever the case may be in that particular setting. I've got 6 suggestions here for you to work your way through today. Some you'll be able to do and some not. So if you're in a seated position, I'd like you to stand. I'm going to go ahead and stay seated only because you wouldn't be able to see me well if I change position on my screen, but I'm going to ask you to stand. And step away from your desk just a little bit. And this is really good for you drivers that are on the call. So when you take a break and you get off of your bus and you're standing there, I want you to shrug the shoulders once again up to the ears, shrug them up, and then lay those shoulder blades back down. Now roll the palms so that they go forward, okay? And so relax the elbows so the arms are super soft, and let the weight of your hands just hang down from your arms. Now again, we're going to go back to that head over heart, shoulders over hips kind of concept we do with the breathing, because breath work will be a part of this. And then I want you to lift the toes in your shoes and spread the toes as wide as you possibly can. And as you do that, engage the kneecaps, slide them up your leg and engage the quads up just a little bit, and feel how that lifts the lower belly and engages the core, right? You probably can drop those shoulder blades down your back just a touch more. Now go ahead and lay those toes down and stay in this position. And I would like you to do another visualization practice and visualize the most incredible mountaintop you've ever seen in your life. And bring the strength of the vision of that mountain peak from the crown of your head to the base of that mountain down into your feet. And keep the legs engaged. So that means those kneecaps are slid up, the quads are engaged, the core is engaged. Now take those soft fingertips and encourage them to pull the shoulders down and reach into the earth, okay? And feel the strength of your strong body. Now on a breath, and take a nice long inhalation. As you lift that breath up, feel it travel all the way through the upper body. Now feel it travel up the back of your neck through the crown of the head. And then exhale it down. And as you exhale it down out of the body, take the shoulders down a little further. Yeah, very good. Go ahead and relax. And go ahead and stay standing, relax, maybe shimmy the shoulders back and forth just a little bit, roll those arms out. If you were to take, again, a movement break from your desk and just stand up and get away from wherever you've been sitting, and if you're working on a couple of monitors, you actually can still see them, but you can take a moment away. Now, the other one is the chest expansion. If you see on the screen the gal, she's looking at the computer, her eyes are squeezing tight, she's got this intent computer look, she's slouched forward, right? How many of you sitting at your desk, you're tipped forward, the shoulders are forward, you're behind a wheel, your posture isn't super great, the core's not engaged? We all do it, right? So now that you're standing, I would like you to roll the shoulders onto your back. So if you see me in the screen and you roll those shoulders in the back, now reach behind you and interlace your fingers. So you're going to take your hands behind your back and interlace them. Now, draw the shoulder blades tighter together, whatever works for you, without arching the lower back. Now, I want you to press the knuckles down towards the floor, okay? And as you take a breath, take it up the front side and lift that heart center up a little bit more. And then on your next exhale, hinge forward. So you're just going to bend at the waist and lift those knuckles up towards the ceiling, wherever they're going to go. Some people, they'll go really far. Some people, they won't. It's listening to where your body wants to move, but it opens that shoulder cavity back up and stretches that all about. And so that then when you go back to work, again, you're more aligned, you're more postural, and can be more productive. Okay. The next one is chair. So if you were to go to sit down in your chair, you can do this two ways, gang. You can slowly lower yourself down in the chair, but then stand right back up. And then take the hips back and find the chair, slow, 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 and sit down as softly as you can. And then press through the feet and lift yourself back up. Yeah, very good. Then we have, so you can use that all the time to help engage the quads. Quickly to go through the last three would be a seated spinal twist, where you're going to inhale the arms up and rotate to one direction and just take the hand to the back of the chair. So you're going to have a nice rotation through the midsection, and then you would inhale up and you would rotate to the other side. So wherever you find yourself seated, that's really good. Super good one to do after you have lunch, because any mid-body rotation helps with our digestion. Two other ones that I think are great, especially if you're working at a desk and using a computer a lot, or your hands are on a steering wheel. When we go to the grocery store and we get the big wide rubber bands that are around asparagus or broccoli, I want you to save one of them and take them to your workplace. Put them right around your fingers, and periodically through the day, Stretch that rubber band. So you're taking your fingers out and away, okay? Just easy movements. Whatever you do on one hand, I want you to do it on the other hand. So you always are just stretching that out. As we age in particular, the repetitive work patterns really wreak havoc on our finger joints, and as arthritis comes as we age, this is really a good one. The last one for a snack is I encourage everyone in their workplace to have a ball under their desk. Because of you being seated, you are constricting blood flow through your body all day long. And so these exercise movement snack breaks are key to improved health, and it will help the fatigue at the end of the day. So if you have a hard ball under your desk and you're in your desk, take a shoe off, take them both off at the same time, whatever you choose to do, but then run this ball up and down the inner arch, and then roll it particularly across the ball of the foot to the end of the little toe, and then even take the toes. This is really a valuable exercise to do during the day in the workplace, and that's because blood stimulation in the toes, that's the furthest place on your body away from your heart. So when you are working and seated all day long, those feet, that's why our ankles swell, our legs swell, we're sitting so much. Really get a little bit of movement in there. Number one, it feels super good. There's a lot of trigger points that help our internal organ system, but it's really taking blood down to that lower extremity, which helps the heart work better. Little tip. So each day as we strengthen our mind and body connection, I encourage you to bring a smile to yourself first. So when you get up in the day and you get prepared for the day, think about what snacks you might put into your day at home and in the workplace, but start smiling at yourself in the mirror first. Makes it a lot easier for you to smile at everybody around you. So I encourage smiles constantly. So I thank you very much. This is my contact information. I hope there's been something in my presentation today that says, it really can be that simple. But what I'd really like to leave all of you with is, you're the master of your health, nobody else. The healthcare system isn't. Nobody else can tell you what will make you the most healthy. You're the master of your health. You are a bodybuilder. I encourage you to bring in some of these snack breaks and just have fun with it. Live the fullest life you possibly can be, and just there's more to learn about your body. Take time to listen. So you can reach out to me by email. I also do a weekly newsletter that can come into your mailbox called Toolbox Tuesday. If you're interested in doing some other Zoom kind of trainings, happy to help. Just reach out. So thank you very much. There you go.
Thank you, Mary. Awesome.
You're welcome.
Okay. The thing that I just really love, and I think that's always surprising every time I hear Mary speak, and I've heard her several times, and I could listen to her. It's so relaxing and reminds me that living a healthy lifestyle does not have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be hard. There's no perfect diet. There's no perfect exercise. We overcomplicate it. It's so commercialized that it gets overcomplicated. And ultimately, if we need to lose weight, that's a side effect of eating more color in your day. It's that simple. If you literally start saying, I'm going to make sure I get those 5 colors every day, and I'm going to build off of each meal, and by the end of the day, I'm going to have those 5 colors. Think about the difference in your health. And those little changes just add up, and so I just appreciate that so much. I know that we were kind of joking, Mary, in the comments about, let's see, where are the comments? Where I lost them. I see them, but I can't get there. Chat, there we go. About chocolate and Skittles.
I'm a big chocolate fan. Not so much on Skittles, but big chocolate fan.
Do Skittles count?
Skittles do count.
And then of course
That's food for fun.
of course, that's food for fun, yes. And Ashley commented that dark chocolate is good for you. I said yes. And then of course we were talking about water. I reminded them that what you said about measuring the water really is a good idea, that most people think they drink more water than they really do. And if you actually take the time to measure it, you'll probably see that you're not drinking as much as you should, which like Mary said is half your body weight. It's estimated that about 80% of the population is in dehydration. So if that's true, then most of us probably aren't drinking enough water. And Ashley says she likes adding lemon and apple cider vinegar to my water. Apple cider vinegar, interesting.
Oh yeah.
So lemon,
Good
not too
tonic,
bad.
Ashley.
So any questions?
Yeah.
Any questions? Any comments? Any questions for Mary?
I think one thing for me is I feel like you can kind of like dress up your water. Like I'm a big water fan. I say pretty much water and coffee is like what I drink. So, but yeah, I like to put things in my water. Like I said, you know, adding lemon and then just like a little bit of apple cider vinegar as well. It's definitely like an acquired taste. It takes time to kind of get used to that. But even just like regular lemon or adding like cucumber into water as well. So those are just a few tips that I've found, you know, if you're kind of just bored with just drinking water. Mary, I have, I guess, a small question for you. Have you tried like liquid IV before? Have you heard of that or tried any of that?
I have heard of that and I've read about it. I've not tried it. Ashley, in my lifestyle, I go all natural. I do everything through my food and my own movement. So I try on different diets I have or different methodologies, but I don't really do most of that. So IV, I have not. Have you?
Okay. I was in a wedding this last summer and like in the brides and like bridesmaids and groomsmen little gifts, they had put like a packet of like the liquid IV that you can like dump in your water. And I tried it and like it was okay, but for me I was like I'd rather stick like a lemon in my water or do like the apple cider vinegar and stuff. So I was just curious. I didn't know if it like really works or not.
Here's what I live and what I promote for everybody is there are a lot of things out there to try. But I live the philosophy before I try a new whatever it may be it a diet, a supplement, or a trending health tonic. We have so many tools at our availability. I want myself and others to find out what is your current relationship with what you are doing. What's working well for you and what's not. And then how well are you using the tools that you have at your disposal? Once you get to there, 90% of the time, if it's fun to try trend stuff, and it's fun to try new diets and new recipes and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's important for us to get ourselves to that point. Otherwise, we're adding something and looking for a benefit that someone else has determined before we've actually understood better what do I have that I can control. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, and Andy, I want to comment, you asked about 100 ounces of water. Yeah, and when you see that, that's pretty overwhelming. I would imagine of like, shoot, dang, that's a lot of water to drink. It is, but the more you do work towards that, the body itself will start to reduce inflammation because the likelihood is if you haven't been doing that, the body's holding on to a lot of liquids from other sources that are not as healthy for the body as the water would be. So we kind of have to flush out the system and you'll self-regulate. You will go to the bathroom more than you had been, but that too will also balance itself out as the body regulates. Mm-hmm. I'm a believer the body knows what weight it wants to live at. It's important for us to get out of our way to let our bodies be as gifted and talented as they were designed to be. I hope that helps.
Yeah.
And if anybody is ever interested, I do free strategy sessions. You can just reach out to me at no charge or anything and just have a conversation as to our conversation today, where you're meeting yourself today, and if you want to explore what that would feel like, just reach out to me by email.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thank
you know,
you.
we take hydration for granted. I know Andy's saying, cool, I know I'm dehydrated, so I'll give it a shot. I said, great. It literally is outside. Sometimes I can't decide between sleep and hydration, which one is the most important for your health. But I almost think hydration trumps sleep because hydration helps you sleep better. So honestly, hydration is probably the most important health practice that you can start with. And if you are, and I love what you said, Mary, about the fun diets and the fun things that come out. I don't knock those things. It works for some people, and sometimes it helps people get a jump start. So if that, great. But one of the things that I always recommend too is to say, if before you can really put yourself in a situation to think that you're going to really stick to a diet trend, uh, drink your water. If you're not consistently drinking half your body weight in water on a regular basis, and you haven't created that habit should come before any diet trend that you may start. So I think that's kind of what you were saying too, Mary, is use the tools and resources you already have, get good at
Yeah.
what you already have before you try to do these new fun things.
Yeah, we have to keep in mind, or I encourage people to keep in mind, that cookbooks that are written, diets that are designed, and the things that I would, like Kim said, I would put on the trend side, they were created for one particular reason, and that was for the originator of them to make money from you to buy them. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I do think that sometimes it has people thinking they're going to find something that's magic, and the magic is already within each of you. We were born with the magic inside of us, to be the best we possibly can be. So unpacking that is a process. It's slow. Sometimes it's painful and frustrating, but at the end of the day, you're worth it. Bottom line, you're all worth it.
I love it. Preach.
Well, as you can tell, I'm very passionate about, I want you all to feel the best you possibly can be, because life is just so much fun. It is. It's just so much fun, and it just gets better as we get older. And there's so much awaiting everybody ahead of you each and every day. So yeah, I'm an advocate for that, and maybe get a little preachy, but that's the way it is.
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and stop the recording so I don't forget to do that. And Ashley, I'll get that over